Hey, ¿qué tal a todos? Aquí estamos en Capajuancho y más. Y bueno, hoy estamos en el segundo episodio de reaccionando a la construcción del whartog de Halo Infinite, porque ya habría salido el segundo episodio cuando yo grabé acerca del primero. Y hoy vamos a estar viendo el video de la construcción del segundo. Igualmente, si no se han visto el primer video, se los estaré dejando en la descripción con el nombre del canal de Hoonigan, que es el canal que está construyendo el whartog. Y ahora sí, empecemos. Pues este dura un minuto más. Ya me acabo de dar cuenta.
Okay, whoa, bro! What are you doing?
Sí, ya funciona. O sea, ahí nos están spoileando lo que van a hacer este video. Yo supongo que hacerlo de colocar el motor y hacer que el vehículo ya funcione para ya hacer que sea así.
What happened on the previous episode, let me fill you in real quick. The team packed up, headed down to the Peterson Museum, where we were actually able to put our hands on a scaled replica of the Halo Infinite Warthog. The crew was able to take much needed measurements and see some design features and ideas and take things that we could actually implement into our tire shredding Warthog. Soupy and Hurt had long extensive conversations with the team over at Halo to really figure out what details they were looking for in the Halo Infinite Warthog.
Okay, that's enough.
Let's get started.
Bueno, acá están hablando de que están resumiendo que sería el primer episodio, que si por cierto no lo vieron, pues se lo voy a dejar en la descripción con el canal de YouTube de Hoonigan. Así que bueno, sigamos.
If you're sitting there wondering how we're going to take this 6,000-pound armored fighting vehicle known as the Warthog up to speeds of 100 plus miles an hour and be able to climb over rough terrains and boulders, let's just say everything is going to be big, real big, tires real big, motor real big, transmission real big, everything real big.
Está hablando del motor, que quieren que todo sea gigante y pues I guess big is better. O sea que mientras más grande es mejor.
Twin spoolie boys. While hooking that to a Gearstar Supermatic 80 transmission, we'll be adding in massive Pro Billet torque converters and an Atlas 2-speed transfer case.
Ok, ahí están hablando de la transmisión, la verdad no sé qué es. O sea, yo he visto gente construyendo autos, pero la verdad de parte de autos no tengo ni idea.
The engine and the transmission in the correct place.
We had to cut a whole bunch of stuff because we didn't realize that the transfer case was huge.
Yeah, it's a big unit. We were also having troubles with the suspension mount point right here. It was actually touching where it was before, and then Soupy.
And replay.
Before and then Soupy
Soupy.
cut these bars so that he could move the transfer case on the transmission forward 2 inches. Soupy's gonna have to make a new bar to actually attach the transmission to the actual chassis. Other than that, I mean, everything's looking pretty good. I mean, it's pretty monstrous.
Choosing an engine package that's going to go into our Halo Warthog was no easy feat. No, considering
O sea, ahí están hablando del motor.
that's in
O sea, de
Infinite
que
is a
el motor tendría
12-liter
que usar.
hydrogen injected internal combustion engine motor that makes quite a bit of power, but is only capable of 78 miles an hour. Now, if I go through my notes right here, we found the secret recipe. It was right in front of our face the entire time. It's simple math. This is not space age technology. Tons of horsepower right there. All you have to do is add a bunch of turbos, a bunch of displacement, and some really good parts, and we're going to be making over 1,000 horsepower easily out of this thing.
Están hablando de cuántas fuerzas tenía que ser el motor, la verdad. Yo no entendí nada porque yo de eso no sé.
We're here today in Redline in their VIP suite. My man Rudy over here already has our engine block on the engine stand. He already did a bunch of prep work. The rings are already gapped, the bearings are already clearanced. Rudy, why don't you give us a little something about this
This
motor?
is the Dart engine, cast iron, 4 Windsor 351. We bore in a stroke to 438.
So basically, you already clearanced everything, you already measured everything. So we have to put in the crank
Rudy,
today,
el pegado que
the rods,
nadie conocía
and
hasta ahora,
those are our heads right there. So the heads
fue
are
que
gonna go
consiguió
down,
todo para
and
el
basically
motor.
we're gonna assemble the long block. Okay,
The long
great.
block.
He doesn't need me here. I'm gonna let him get to work, get out of his
Es
hair,
el que no
let him do his
va a
thing.
ensamblar el motor. Miren. Al menos sí sé que eso es un motor, porque yo sí conozco un motor. Dios, es gigantesco. Ojalá
Heads
yo
are
tuviera un
on, push
auto con
rods are
eso.
in, lifters are in. Cam is in because I see the timing chain on. It looks really good. A couple more little bits and pieces and we're done. I guess I'll be back in a few days to pick this up.
Taking a vehicle which was initially a 20-foot long, 10-foot wide vehicle and cramming it into a much more refined, smaller packaged Warthog. A lot of things had to be considered, right? If Master Chief is over 7 feet tall, we basically had to find somebody that was almost a 1-to-1 scale model. So we called up Brian Scotto. Yes, Master Chief may be surviving off of health packs and an adrenaline junkie. Brian Scott, on the other hand, is 8 feet tall, nearly 1,000 pounds.
Ok, están viendo porque están midiendo la altura del jefe maestro para ver si coincida con una persona que anda el cuarto, que están buscando a esa persona que acaban de ver hace un momento, porque él es casi, no sé si es de la misma estatura o casi de la misma estatura que el jefe maestro, así que no sé si lo van a invitar. Déjenme escuchar.
Caffeine and pizza. Once we started installing the much larger components, we had to really start looking at the driver's compartment. Considering that we have to maintain the look and the appeal of what the Warthog was, we had to compromise a little bit of the space. So the driver compartment may be compromised to where our Master Chief may have to be the size of Danger Dan.
Steering is just lines, right?
Yeah, we
Like
can
there's
move the
no-
steering anywhere. What if you move the steering closer to you? It gets away from your knee, right?
If it was on an angle, it would. You know, before the pedals were like here.
No, I'm saying like.
Is that better? Yeah, with the pedals out here, it's okay. But it's still pretty close. So
Can you
like-
push the pedal box forward?
Yeah, but look, it's what's hitting the block. Like
Ok, entonces, no sé si este ya es el señor que estaba comentando, pero estaba hablando de que aquí el manubrio estaba muy cerca y yo también lo estoy viendo como muy cerca, lo cual me parece raro. Entonces, vamos a ver qué hacen.
if he jams on it, he's gonna hit the corner of the head.
Because I was thinking if you could add a little bit more angle to this, it won't be a drastic height change, but it'll change where your hand is here. If you cut this plate off and you just plopped it a little bit to have some angle, I think that would help too. Again, probably easier said than done.
Dude, this is one montage away from being fixed. I'm not doing that.
What do we got here? We have an improvised drive shaft.
Ok, el señor dijo que si cortaran un poco esa parte para que el manubrio quedara más lejos y sería mucho mejor, se podría, pero yo creo que eso es imposible en estos momentos.
Making out a 1.5 inch material. Gonna chop that, and we're gonna weld these two together, and these will go. Gonna go like that, but imagine both of them together. You have to use your imagination.
So fuel cell. Yeah, I had to weld the bungs in. Originally we were gonna fill from the side. I had to weld that in because there was a big old hole there. So now I'm gonna weld in the breather and then I have to weld in the return. But before I weld in the return, I'm gonna make a little tube because if you look inside, there's like a baffle in there. So I'm gonna weld the tube to the bottom of this. It just kind of travels into the baffle.
Is this just a universal tank that you guys picked up? or
No.
You made it?
Custom made. Come on, man.
¡Ay, otro anuncio! Ok, miren, ya están poniendo todo para el compartimiento.
Well, that's all over now.
Here we go into the future.
It's been a while since we've seen you, but we've done a lot of work to the Warthog. First off, we got the cooling system all sorted out. Got a cross tube here. We've got all our radiators mounted to the chassis. Everything's welded. We also have the radiators tied together. Had to do some cutting in the welding of all the ports. Had to block off some of the old ones. So we got that all sorted out, ready to connect that into the engine. We got another cooler up front. We got our water pump. This is a cooler that's going to go to the beautiful pan sump thingy that Soupy made for our intercooler system. And look at this. Soupy has welded on these tabs, these mounts, to the dry sump pan. That's a 4-gallon dry sump. That is huge. Did a bunch of other welding to the chassis. Got these tabs welded on to mount the cooling tank for the intercooler. Got the compressor system mounted as well. So yeah, made a lot of progress since the last time. But now we are going to be moving towards this engine here that Soupy picked up yesterday. Gonna be dropping that in here, and we'll move on to the next stuff.
Ok, si entendí bien, es que ya van a poner el motor.
Are you gonna make the transmission with the engine?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna bake cookies. What does it look like I'm doing, man?
Chicos, me tengo que explicar para ver si aparece el auto.
Okay, whoa, bro! What are you doing?
Dude, I do not trust the 2x4. I got it.
Stop. Okay.
Voy a echar el motor, qué bestia.
The engine is finally in.
How do you feel about the fitment?
It's tight. You want to see something cool? We planned that.
Is it okay that it's like that?
It's not moving. It's not going anywhere. The motor's solid mounted. It's not going anywhere.
Miren, ya básicamente el esqueleto del whartog ya están listos. Sí, pues,
So as you guys know, we're probably known for having some of the cleanest cars. Like I can name a few: rail car, scumbug, shit car. All the cars that we build are usually seaman worthy. So when it came time to building the Warthog, we wanted to make sure that this car was on the same caliber of some of our other cars. One of the most stressful parts that we didn't really anticipate, because we assumed we would have all the space in the world, right? We're starting off with this massive chassis, but after really cutting it down and dissecting the chassis, we realized that we really didn't have much space left. So now when it came time to building headers, engine harness, and running the plumbing, we're gonna be really tight on space. And that's one of the most stressful parts. So the boys had to get to work and figure out how to build a setup that would function properly as well as look good.
I haven't seen it drop down.
Dude, it looks pretty sick at this height.
Oh, I haven't seen it with the engine in it. Damn. Can we turn off the front wheel drive? Like, can we make it rear wheel only?
We can make it front wheel drive, rear wheel drive.
Sick. You know what that means? You can do reverse burnouts. Because it also does all gears, all directions, right?
Están hablando sobre que si ya tienen todo el auto, las direcciones y
And
se
just
puede
make
mover
your
y
front
todo.
wheel spin, just because you can.
Oh, of course. Are we gonna keep rear steer?
But the rear steer is only at low speed.
Yeah, that's fine.
Only at low speed with the joystick. One hand on the steering wheel, one hand on the joystick.
Make sure you timestamp this moment, because we're going to have to cut back to that when someone flips this thing using rear steer at high speed.
We got two professionals, sort of, maybe a little bit, that came in today, and these guys are gonna come in, help us wire this, because it's a lot more complicated than we are used to, that I'm used to, because there's a lot going on in here, and these guys came here to help.
I'm Nathan Tsugano from Redline Performance. I do the technical sales over there, and yeah.
I'm Jared from Redline Performance. I do the wiring, electronics, a little bit of programming.
So what are you guys working on today?
Today we're going to do the main layout, measuring, and then we'll come back with the product. No fun cutting or splicing.
O sea, estos
today.
señores nos van a ayudar a la
Everything,
construcción.
fans, pumps, and
Y chicos, ya se dieron cuenta, esta parte ya la pusieron. A ver, miren el mouse. Aquí, todo esto ya lo pusieron. O sea, esto. Dios mío, han avanzado demasiado.
Links, not much more to it than that.
O sea, están ayudando creo que con el motor, si mal no estoy.
Inverter.
So, fail safe, so it's super important. Whatever we need to do for speed, don't forget this is not always going to be in an open area. We're not going to have GPS all the time. It's got to be like the Swiss Army knife. It's got to do everything okay.
So, you guys doing any jumping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look at say, right here, right?
Now that the Redline crew finally got all the measurements that they needed to continue to finish their masterpiece, Soupy and the crew got back to doing what they do best. And that's grinding. There ain't nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. Now, during this time, yes, this just wasn't recorded yesterday. We worked between November all the way up through January, which some of this, hopefully you guys would understand, wasn't documented. But we did jump back into the project about mid-January,
ya
which gave everybody
llevan
enough
unos
time,
meses
including the
trabajando y
Redline
solo vamos
crew,
por
to
el
finish
segundo
up all the
episodio.
loose ends.
What's the issue you and Chan are trying to resolve today?
Because we're using like a CAN bus system, which is here, you know, the PDM module stuff. So we have to program all the outputs. It's not just like a throw a switch and it turns on. So we have to tell the computer how to turn things on. You have to tell it amperage and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, how many amps before it trips. So it's a full diagnostic. So what happens is when this thing's away from us, if there's something that goes wrong, we could dial into it and say exactly what is wrong with the car through the CAN bus. We could tell exactly where to...
O sea, están diciendo de que tienen que hacer como el lado tecnológico completamente, lo tienen que hacer. Ya que, o sea, los sistemas y así digamos que si en un futuro el auto falla, ellos ya saben exactamente qué es el problema que el auto está teniendo, así que vamos a ver qué más.
How fast it went, exactly what's wrong with it, or if anything's wrong with it, what systems are tripped, what it needs. You know, if it even needs an oil change, we'll know.
We don't have all day, Grandpa. Come on.
Están probando ya si el auto funciona. Uf.
Hey, the whartog starts up and it didn't catch on fire for the first time. Hey, that means we can start moving on to the other details. We're gonna start building body panels. We're gonna start looking for the wheel and brake combination that is gonna best fit. We also get
Ok, está hablando de que ya el motor ya lo hicieron, ya la primera funcionó y lo que van a hacer es ya construir los detalles, o sea, los detalles del auto, todo y como por ejemplo aquí en las llantas, es que se me cayó aquí en las llantas esta parte y ya lo demás sería la construcción del whartog, así que sigamos.
to a point where the harnesses and the plumbing is all dialed in. So
Ya
it's gonna be
están
close to being
construyendo
roadworthy.
una carcasa.
Oh, by the way, look, this is how you're supposed to treat a rotary. You see that? You make it into furniture because they never run right. Rotary. Yeah, no. This is what you do with rotary stuff. Just rotary parts in general. Make them into a clock. This is the only way it's reliable. Ooh, yeah, hurt. I said it.
Y bueno chicos, hasta aquí el video de hoy, espero que les haya gustado. No sé cuándo va a salir el tercer episodio, probablemente termine saliendo o el lunes o el martes. Ojalá que salga hoy para hacer la tercera reacción al tercer episodio. Y bueno chicos, nos vemos en Capjuanche más. ¡Woo!
1, 2, 3, drop.